it's logic, but if you like actually did the research and you actually knew what you were talking about, it doesn't work at all.
In a world desperate to tear itself apart, only one man, and some other people, stand in the way of total destruction. Together they will right the wrongs, make bad, good, and single-handedly destroy evil, together. Who is this man, you may ask? This man is Geoff.
Hello and welcome to Geoff Jones and Friends, Make It Better, the show that takes one of life's little annoyances, gives him a microphone, a guest and a podcast, and the unwavering ego to believe he can make everything better. Today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined once again by Travis Jennings of the Bar Banter Podcast. Travis, how are you?
Geoff, I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm not too bad at all. We're communicating from across the oceans once more. I really appreciate you being on. I'll tell you what I didn't say actually before the preamble is we used to do last time you were on, we kind of did the whole make it better, and then we talk about your podcast at the end. Well, I've actually shifted that, so we kind of do a little bit of chit chat around your project at the beginning, so everyone can hear just quite how wonderful it is. I've said before, I listen to two podcasts. It's yours and the Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast. So yeah, it's not
Both
bad.
equally as good. They're on the same level.
Yes.
Production quality, content, they're exactly both wonderful.
I don't know if you've actually ever heard the Sunny podcast, but yours is you probably spend more time on the actual production side than they do. They just have famous names.
I've seen the YouTube clips of it, and so I know that they have a studio and they have cameras, and someone's got to edit that, and so from that point they have a higher production.
Yeah, in the early days, the first I don't know dozen episodes were just podcasts, and it was just them talking, and they left warts and all in. There you go.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyway, but we're not here to talk about their podcast. But gives right. What's happening with the Bar Banter podcast?
So as you know, I'm going to read from the script because I wrote it down so I don't mess it up. The Bar Banter Podcast is an unscripted comedy podcast where we debate and solve the questions that no one else dares to ask. Questions like, what's the best Starburst flavor? Does the person in the middle seat get both armrests? And which Muppet would make the best assassin? If you're looking for a podcast that'll make you laugh hysterically or scream in your car with rage, we have the show that you didn't know you were irrationally passionate about. Jonas knew that's not how that's supposed to go. And you can keep this in. Join us for new episodes every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on the socials at @the_Bar Banter. So that's the elevator pitch. That's the whatever. But we are in year 2 of the show. We had 12 plus guests on last year. We're hoping to get about that number this year. We're going to come across our 100th episode this year, I hope. And we have shorts on all of the different social media platforms. We're trying to do longer form content on those as well. We're kind of all over the place, but it's a happy mess, and we're just along for the ride.
That's it. And it is. I do. I mean, I've been a guest. We won't go into that one too much. But yourself, this is your second go. Rick's been on from the show. We had a great chat about office politics, which I believe you said sounded boring AF when you heard what he was talking about. However, the episode was not. The episode it's very funny.
Well, anything that Rick does, I'm going to talk about. Regardless, that's just our relationship. So
no, that's fair enough. But and that's like is staged photographs, wasn't it? Those kind of family cards.
Yes,
that's what we spoke about. And I still every time like Christmas is the one that kills me. Just like my sister, brother-in-law, and like their blended family. They're fantastic people, but there was my niece's boyfriend, and they all had matching pajamas on, and there's kind of this photo of them at Christmas. I'm like, that's too far. That is it's too much. And if you're going to do that, that's fine, but don't take don't take a photo of it. Like, I was embarrassed.
You don't need a. I think what we kind of resolved was like we're okay with candid photos, and if you wanted to get everyone in matching pajamas and take candid photos and post that, that's your prerogative. That's fine. Don't get professional photos done of you in pajamas. That's a little creepy. Don't do that.
I'm a professional person in pajama photographer.
Yeah.
Actually, just a new business. But no, well, yes, the bar banter it is. I mean, when I set off on this journey, you were kind of one of the first real kind of podcast
Mhm.
people within the community that like I've
Yeah.
met and spoke to, and you've been incredibly helpful. Your podcast is wonderful, and that elevator pitch is so true because I sit there, well, I walk out walking my dog, and talking about things, and you're arguing, and I'm there, I'm talking, I'm saying, well, no, that doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
It would be this. Oh, they can't hear me. Like, you know how, yeah, you listen to you listen to a podcast and it's informational, and you're gaining information, you're learning from it, and but you guys, you talk with such passion about just the minutest details, and it's amazing.
Yep.
And I was thoroughly unprepared when I went on. Next time, I am prepared. I'm doing my homework, and I think actually, well, depending on, I think the episode I'm joining you on would be out before this, so we'd have to say, oh, I was amazing on your episode, because we have to talk
Yeah.
historically.
It's
So
great.
that was really
Wonderful. You were so good on the
thank you,
episode
Kit.
that
Yeah,
we recorded.
that's the soundbite.
Yeah.
Soundbite, yeah. Uh, but
Hilarious.
no, I'm tired because you refuse to put it at a decent time. Anyway, everyone check out the Bar Banter podcast. At the end, we'll go over those links once again, and the links will also be in the bio. But Travis, it's time to put you to work. What is it that we are making better today?
So I thought a lot about this leading up to this week when we're recording. And the number one problem in my life right now, and I know this is, there's the term of first world problem. So it's really not that big of a problem. But in my life, it's the one thing that's like irking me right now, and it's clutter.
Yeah.
And when I say clutter, I mean specifically the number of British rock bands that are out there. It's too many. It's Sabbath, The Who, Radiohead, Oasis. There's too many British rock bands, and we need to get rid of them.
Hang on, is this Liam Neeson all over again?
Yes, that's exactly what
Yeah,
this is.
yeah.
This is Liam Neeson. Yeah.
Okay, for anyone who's not heard Travis's first, he came on, said with the planner photographers, stage photographs, and they just shouted Liam Neeson movies. They're all the same, and completely threw me. I mean, I was on, I don't know, within 20 episodes of the podcast, and I had no idea what this crazy American was up to. But also, there are too many British rock bands, but even one of them's better than all the nonsense coming out of America. However, so Clutter.
I don't know about all of them, but they are. I will say I do like British rock bands.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about actual clutter. Um,
Oh.
I have two small children. I have a very large dog, as Geoff now knows. I have a wife, and I have family, immediate family that's very close to where I live. We're all kind of in the same bubble. And so I'm very fortunate for that. But that means that the grandparents are coming over and buying lots of toys. And the we have to have all of the different options for all of the children because, like most children, they're all ADD, and as soon as they're done playing with one thing, they see another and they want to go play with that, or they'll play with something for a week and they'll love it and then they'll be over it and they'll want something new. So we have ungodly amounts of toys. We have a bunch of hand-me-downs from parents, either my old stuff from when I was a kid or from my nieces and nephews, or again, the grandparents just buying stuff that's like, oh, it was on sale and it's for a 10-year-old. I'm like, they're not 10 yet. Don't buy that. So we just have to like stick it in the basement until they're old enough for it. And so we have that chunk of clutter. And then we have my own personal clutter. There's a Lego in the background here. There's a bunch of Legos that you can't see up here. There's a bunch of Lego in the basement. I have the podcast set up. I have the work set up. I have the rest of my knickknacks. And there's a lot of stuff. And then my wife has all of her, hobby stuff that she's interested. She got into jewelry making. She keeps a lot of stuff in our house for her job, because she kind of does a lot of coordinating, and we'll call it outreach is probably a good way to put it. So like the event that they're doing, we have all 1,000 t-shirts in our house for the event that she's going to be doing for her company, which is fine. We have the space for it, but now that's just another thing that we have to consider. And she has all of her, hair care products and all of the stuff for her routine. We have all the stuff for the dog. We have whatever art that gets, that you can see behind me that might get switched out. And there's just so much stuff everywhere. And I'm sick of it. And I want to like, part of me wants to just throw it all out and start over and just like get all new stuff, but only buy the essentials. And I don't know what to do.
And I mean, I have, from what I've learned from American television, is your houses are big over there. Like anyway, like they're all quite open plans. The price of housing there compared to here and what you get for your money, is quite big. So to have, you've got your own podcast and your own kind of each got your own space for your clutter as well. So you must have a lot of clutter if rooms are just full of your own people's clutters. And a basement. Like, see here, if you have this, shed or a garage, then if you had a basement, that would be, you wouldn't be, say if you had to walk down into it, it would be full. Mm-hmm. You'd just be throwing stuff on top of the pile.
Right.
That's how we deal with everything. You just, and as soon as you can't keep the door closed, that's when you're like, need to get a bigger one. Like, you just keep building around the outside. Mm-hmm. But have you approached the decluttering conversation? Like, okay, no. Let's start. Who do you start with? You, your wife, your children. If you enter a decluttering conversation, mm-hmm. do you pinpoint one person or the children, or are you going to risk your own clutter, which is probably, out of all the clutter, your most favorable clutter?
Well, so the children themselves are a little too young to help me declutter. And because of their age difference, we do keep some of the stuff that the older one played with. So when the younger one is of that age, we now have it. So there are hand-me-downs that we have strategically kept, which makes sense. Like, we don't want to have to rebuy things brand new if they're in good working order. But I think with like, if we're talking specifics, I try to take it on and strategically remove things that I know have been sitting for a long enough time, and I'll go hide it in the basement, basically. And once either the children have forgotten about it, or my wife has forgotten about it, or someone else has forgotten about it, and then I just go take it to Goodwill. But that's not it's not efficient enough, and there seems to be more coming in than is going out. And I need something a little bit more expedited.
Yeah. The thing is as well, as soon as you pick, so we had, so the kids had a TV VHS combo, right? And this was the oldest thing we owned, but with a kind of a toddler running around and who had already smashed a big screen. We were like, do you know what? This is coming out the attic. They can use it. They used to watch, we still had loads of like Scooby-Doo videos. They didn't use them, but this TV was something safe to just, like, it's not going to get damaged. Instead of going by a whole new thing. And so we're going through this decluttering of just getting rid of some old kid stuff. And we had all of the old VHSs, and then like I said, had all of your um, Scooby Doo's and a Scooby Doo, which is massively overrated, by the way. But also your Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and your whole mood's changed from that statement. But yeah, always VHS. Anyway, so I'm like, right,
Yeah.
stack them by the door. It's out. We're gonna get rid of them. All of a sudden, the kid's like, "But I want to watch Scooby Doo Pirates." I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean you want to watch Scooby Doo Pirates?" Like, well, I'm
Yep.
going to take these videos and watch them. You haven't watched them for 10 years. They probably stopped making VHSs around the time you were born. Why are you now? Oh, no,
Yeah.
we're going to go and watch them like the old days. Like, I don't want you to. I want to get rid of them. And now they're back upstairs. And we don't own that TV with the VHS anymore. But somewhere in this house is about 20 VHS. Like,
Ugh.
I can't win. And now it's retro nostalgic. No,
Mm-mm.
it's old and it's got to go. You can't even take something like that to Goodwill because they look at you like, what are we going to do with a VHS cassette? Like, no,
We can't sell this.
obsolete. So I'm on your side. It's got to go, but there are forces at work that stop the simplistic male, alpha, simplistic male, of just being able to live a decluttered life. I'm not a big fan of pictures on walls. I see my family. I don't care what they looked like a year ago. Like we've got bookshelves. Oh, great bookshelves. Get a Kindle. Like
Yeah.
get rid of everything every so often. Sorry, you set me off now. Every so often, when I come home, it's like, oh yeah, I've got this plant pot. We've got 50 plant pots and a garden. Plants live outside, apart from the Venus flytrap that we have got a Venus flytrap, which I think's dead. I don't know, but yeah, but just more stuff. We don't need it.
More stuff. Don't need it. Don't need it. And you hit on one thing that I've tried to. My wife knows she does not have a green thumb. We kill everything. It's a miracle that our children are still alive. We kill everything. Um, and yet every 3 months or so, I'll see a new what are they called? The ones that aren't supposed to die,
Like a
like
cactus or
cactus
something. Yeah.
and I forgot the name of it. I'll come across it at some point. But those die. They just sit. They sit by a window. No one waters them at all because I'm like, if you bring a plant into this household, I'm not going to take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm not that I have too many other responsibilities. It's not going to be my job. If you want it and you want to take care of it, that's great. But as
Yeah.
soon as it dies, I'm throwing it out. And so I throw out a lot of plants. Not a lot. That's too much. But aside from my wife's stuff and my kid stuff, I think that and I don't know, and I'm sure you have one too, but right behind me in this drawer and probably this one is my cord drawer. Do you have a drawer of just cords that will never be used again that you're too afraid to throw out? And I have a bit of we'll call it a workshop. It's the unfinished part of the basement that all of my tools are in. That maybe I've used that tool once, but I know that it's still got some utility in it. It's not just for decoration. It could be used again. And so I definitely hoard on to that stuff. And
Yeah.
that's my problem. But I see what's the word? I see the value and I see the importantness of it when I like there's they always say there's the right tool for the job. And if you don't have that tool, you have to then go buy the tool. And then, I don't use the chainsaw that I have often, but when I need it, man, does it work really well instead of like hacking away at something with an axe. So um I definitely contribute.
Going to rampage. But yeah, but you've got two different things. That you've got the tools, which are useful, and I bought a workbench, and
Yeah.
the workbench is still in cellophane because whenever I saw something, I use the top of our bin that's outside because it's perfect height and it works. But at some
Mhm.
point, I'm going to need to like wedge something, or I'm going to need it, and I've got it. And at the time, it was a bargain. It's in the shed. It's not causing anyone any kind of. It's probably a nice little home for some spiders, um,
Yeah.
and it's fine there. but the chords is interesting because there's chords, there's keys, maybe some foreign coins. Like you don't
Sunglasses. What else is?
sunglasses. I wear glasses, right? I have people still buy me glasses. My mother-in-law got me some really nice kind of I don't know police sunglasses. They are you've gone instant frat boy with some
Yep.
orange glass sunglasses.
The cheap $2, $1. But yeah.
Yeah, stuff. If in fact, let's do a quick tour. What we got? What have we got? What's in the drawer?
That's what I'm doing. I
Hello,
open it up.
everybody, and
So this
welcome to this
drawer,
episode of What's in Travis's Drawers.
this drawer is literally just cords.
You won't lie. It's a lot of cords.
And this one is batteries, other electronics, and I can't get rid of old phone cases. I don't know why. I don't throw them away.
Never know. They're good to during the apocalypse, just putting on like around the house on the outside of the house, just building a wall. Are those used batteries? Sorry, can you clarify? Are they
Do I use batteries?
Are they new or used batteries they've got?
These are new.
Okay.
I don't keep old batteries. I just throw those out. I know you're probably not supposed to actually just throw them out, but
you have to recycle in a good, eco-friendly way, non-violent to the environment or something. I don't know, but that's also why I do keep them, because we used to have a little box of used batteries, which we then take to somewhere that's got a larger box for used batteries. But now I can't find that little box, and my wife knows where the box is, but I'm sick of asking her because she tells me, and then she shouts at me because she constantly tells me where the box of batteries is. So I just put them in a drawer now, and we never know if they use, because there's new batteries in there as well. So it's a little game I like to play with future Geoff of when it's time to change the batteries on the remote. Like, is it going to work? No. And I'm like, why isn't it working? And I realize it's me.
Will it work?
We've got all these game show concepts that we kind of just this one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's as long as it's not in the smoke alarm. I suppose that's the you want to put good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But you bring up another good point, and it's something I have written down here of the rest of the clutter, right? There is, we've talked about little things like toys and I don't want to say trash, but like the little nostalgia things like VHS batteries, whatever. But then there's also maybe some older, larger items that are broken and you can't fit them in a bin, right? So how do you throw them away, right? You have to take them somewhere, but that's a trip that in the US, it's probably not close, right? Like I happen to find one place that does recycle old like laptops and TVs and stuff. It's a 10-20 minute drive. It's not far, but like, am I going to take it's 15-20 minutes there. You have to then drop off the stuff, and then it's 15-20 minutes back. That's about an hour out of your day to get rid of like one thing, right? I mean, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much. But if you're like in the moment and you're like, I don't have an hour right now, I'm just gonna put it here, wherever here is, and then it just sits there. And so I have maybe at least, I'm gonna say, one TV, two old like laptops from what is it, 2024, probably from like 2015 that just don't work anymore. I have a lot of paint from the previous homeowner that just left a bunch of paint here. There's not a good way to like get rid of paint. Like you can't just take it somewhere. They have to have a specific days where they can accept it or something like that. So all this stuff just like it takes up space and I can't get rid of it because I don't have like an extra hour out of my day just to go drop off one item to get rid of, 5 feet of space.
With all of those items combined, can you take will the place 20 minutes away, will that accept all of those items? The electricals and the paint?
It won't do electricals and the paint. The electrical place is specifically for electronics. And the paint place, I haven't found a good place. I think the closest one is like an hour away.
Right. Just how close are you to the ocean?
4 or 5. Just huck it in there.
I'm joking, just in case.
Isn't this save the world? Are we trying to save the world right now? And you want me to dump stuff in the ocean,
I
Geoff?
didn't say dump. I just asked how far you were. You made your own
How
assumption.
you implied it, sir. How dare you?
No, the Geoff Jones and Friends Make a Better Podcast does not endorse littering and. Okay, so how many more electrical items would it be to make it worth that journey? Because at some point it's got to be worth it, right?
Right. At some point, it's got to be worth it. I would say if the space that they're taking up becomes maybe completely full or unusable anymore. Like right now, I'm looking at one, and it's over in that corner, and it's like your workbench. It's not doing anyone any harm, right? It's just sitting there doing nothing, and that's fine for an item. But as soon as that becomes multiple items, and now that's out of space, I have to then go do something about it, and it's not convenient enough for me to like do continual clutter maintenance, right? Like there's not like a place next door that I can just go huck it off, but like that
I
would
love
be
how,
really cool if there was. It was just like a hey, go, on your way to work, go drop it off. No, my work's the opposite way, or my kid's school is the opposite way. And so
I love how you
it just sits.
creating terms for this.
Yeah.
You said clutter maintenance. You said something clutter maintenance.
The
Regular clutter.
CCM, the CCM, the continual
Continuous
clutter maintenance. Yeah.
continual clutter maintenance. I like that one.
Some corporate guy is gonna put that on a slide and be like, guys, we have to try the CCM method.
Yeah. Right, we're expanding into CCM now.
Yeah,
It's big business now.
big business.
So, okay, I mean, because everyone. So, do you know what I was trying to do with how much electronics? Because everyone knows that Americans will use anything that's not the metric system. So it's like, well, roughly it's roughly 5 TVs worth of space. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's where the amount of room that you've got to fill before it becomes an issue. But I guess I'm quite lucky. Well, I sound lucky. So I live about, I don't know, a mile and a half from, so a mile and a half, yeah, it's about that long, from a recycling center. And they do take paint and electrics and wood, grass and garden stuff. I'll buy. They will take pretty much anything unless you're like a business and you got to get a permit. They used to take empty like glass. They stopped doing that, which was really weird. But thanks to pandemics and things, you used to just be able to put stuff in your car and go and drop it off. And I could do it. It was it's very close to our local kind of big supermarket. I could go, fine, job done. But now you've got to book an appointment. So there's not because it does work better, but because I now have to book the appointment, I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to want to do it that day. I would do it right now. I can spend that 20 minutes there and back, or round trip, but I don't know if on Saturday I'm going to want to do it. And then it's also the case that I've got a new car, so I have to register my registration number, and that's another job. So now it's gone from me just throwing some stuff in the car to registering the license plate to booking an appointment and then to hopefully feel like I actually want to do it by the time the appointment comes. That's too much. That's too much. And the house is not cluttered enough yet to worry about it. Oh, excuse me. I'll tell you, I just turned to cough and I'm looking instantly at a stack of Wii games that hasn't been played. The Wii hasn't been played for, I know, forever. We got Switches and Xboxes, they get played regularly.
Yeah.
Why have I still got them? Actually, I know why, because if we move them, then that's more room for a plant pot. There'll be another plant pot there instantly.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to play strategic defense against the plants. And you're like, no, I need this corner for, for the clutter. So you can't put plants there.
Yeah, the SCD, Strategic Clutter Defense. Yeah, it's a strong play.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Classic defensive move.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but to give you an idea of what's around me, right? So there are 3 recycling centers within, how far is this? Let's do directions. We'll call about 4 miles, right? There's 3 recycling centers in about 4 miles. One does glass only. Another says is just a picture of nothing. It's like a weird photograph of a shopping center. So I don't even know if they recycle anything. They may not recycle anything. And
Recycle.
then there's
Recycle
something
human
called
beings.
e-cycle, which I don't, their website doesn't work, so I don't know what they take. I could call them. And then
Emails.
I found one that's a little bit further away that takes pretty much not everything, but they take a lot of stuff, but it's only for residents of that city, and I don't live in that city. I'm just on the border. So I can't take my stuff to that recycling center. They only take, or they don't take things like, this is like a recycling center that doesn't take single-use alkaline batteries, mattresses, box springs, rear projection, wood console televisions, porcelain such as toilets, any construction debris, and chemicals and fuels. So they won't take paint. So what do you take?
I mean, I'm very
Plastic?
interested. I'm really
Like
interested.
that's it.
I'm really interested to know what rear projection is. You got any idea? Any idea?
So I believe it said a
They don't.
rear projection or wood console television. So I believe it's the old tube TVs. I think
Okay.
is what that's supposed to be. What a wood console television is, I don't know what that is.
No.
No, we
Oh,
got
the old
nights, and now
days,
we're
eh?
wood console. That might be like a built-in.
Yeah. Do a quick
Yeah, it's
Google.
the old school television that's built into that wooden box. They
Okay.
don't.
Oh, we used to have one, and it used to have like
Yeah.
a clicker kind of attached to the
Hmm.
television. So basically, if you've
I
got
didn't know
something,
that's what those were called.
well, clicker, doofer, they call it controller.
Oh, I meant I didn't know that it
Oh,
was
you
called a
didn't
wood console television. I know what a clicker is.
know. So
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, let me spell out. Okay, so you have a remote. Yeah. Yeah, so basically anything which is old that you want to get rid of because it's old and you've replaced it, you can't get rid of because it's old and there's nowhere to put it.
I have no place to put it. I like no place will take it. And I could go to the dump where it's just like actual just trash. That's like 3 hours away, right? I'm not gonna go do that unless I have a massive truckload of stuff to do. So
I mean,
I just
the
have clutter and I can't get rid of it.
simple answer for that specific problem, get your chainsaw, cut it all up, stick it in trash bags, out with the regular rubbish. It's not your fault.
That's yeah, I mean that is a way to do it for sure.
Fun as well.
Some of them I don't think the chainsaw will work well on the television, but I'll have to wear lots of protective clothing for all the shrapnel that's going to come and try to stab me, but it's fine.
You could, yeah, take it apart. Sit there, you're watching a bit of television, you're listening back to one of your own episodes, not editing just because you enjoy the sound of, just because you enjoy it so much.
I like the
And
sound of my
just,
own voice. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say, but I did stop myself because I thought, God, that
go
sounds
for
quite
it.
rude. Yeah.
You
But
can, Jeff,
sit there.
you can just lay it on. It's fine.
I was okay, because you're a narcissist, Travis. No, I'm joking. So, really just sit there,
100%.
just take in, just take your TVs apart, just throw them out with the regular trash. You're
Yeah,
done.
I could do that.
But it's also its effort. If you haven't got an hour to go to a specific electronics
Right.
recycling center, have you got an hour to take apart a whole television?
Sit and do, yeah.
It does sound fun though. It's the kind of thing I'd get halfway through and get bored of and then just stop. And then forever there's half a television
Yep.
just laying around the house.
Yep.
Which has got increased more.
I have
Maybe
done
the
that, so
problem.
I know. Oh, I am not innocent in this at all. I think I've tried to establish that, like, yes, my kids have a lot of toys. My grandparents or their grandparents bring in new stuff. My wife has her own clutter, but I have my clutter too. Now, some of that clutter might be like family clutter that
Mm.
everyone uses and it becomes my responsibility. Um, but it's usually stuff that I have used enough where I could claim ownership of it, like a television or um uh like if I have to switch out a toilet or something, it's like, what do I do with this giant porcelain toilet? Like,
That's questions you don't have to ask often.
right? I have to go take it to a dump somewhere. I don't know where, I don't know what I can't just throw it out. Like, doesn't fit in a bin.
I mean, do you know what? It would make a lovely plant pot. Stick it in the
It would make
garden,
yeah.
and grow some plants out of it. See,
It's
stuff like
got the
that I
natural
like.
fertilizer in it already, so we're fine.
And if you ever caught short whilst you're outside, it's what it's used for, right?
Right.
We 20 years ago we lived with my in-laws, now in-laws, for a few months whilst kind of transitioning properties, and it was very early in or very-ish in mine and my wife's relationship, so we kind of had stuff, and everything took a bit longer. We were there for ended up being there for longer than we planned, so I went up in the attic, and it's still there. And there's actually stuff that I want to show my boys. Like, yeah, I've got
Right.
authentic, just stupid kind of boy stuff, like authentic nunchucks and
Hmm.
um, the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's book. Like, I've got a copy of that in their attic, and
Hmm.
but I'm not allowed to ask for it back because my wife is very concerned that that will mean that it will just it's like putting on the thread. Like, oh, okay, you want the Tao Jeet Kune Do? Well, that's fine. Well, you've got to have um wedding dress, and you've got to have uh, whatever. I don't even know. Probably more VHS, but and they won't kind of think, oh, they're not going to want VHS.
Yeah,
We'll
for
take that to the
sure.
yeah. They won't think we'll take that to the tip because it's VHSs. They'll end up here. So my wife is far too scared. I don't know what else I could. I've got a treasure trove up there for all I know. I have no idea what's up there. But we're never allowed to answer it back. And every so often, my mother-in-law, who is an absolute saint, but she says, I'll be getting up in that attic soon. Okay, and you have all your stuff back. Mark, well, you're going to have it all back. I mean, and she's been staying there for at least 10 years. So we're still safe at the moment. But
Oh, you're good. You got time.
but
My
we'll have
my
more
parents
clutter.
actually did that. My parents did that. They did a full decluttering and like had a massive garage sale. Maybe I think it was like 3 years ago. Like maybe it was either right before the pandemic or like right at, yeah, I think it was like right maybe 2019. So it was like 5 years ago at this point. And they tried to give me, they were like, they didn't want to throw away some of my old stuff. And I'm like, do not give that to me. I'm not going to use it. And they're like, but don't you like this meant so much to you? I'm like, yeah, 30 years ago it did. Like, I don't need the trophy from my, like, I don't need my participation trophy that you guys forced on me. Like, just throw that out. Like, I don't care. Oh, this one book that was like, no, I don't, whatever. Now, the action figures that they saved that my son can now play with, give me those. Give me those. That's fine. That
Especially
there's
if it's in
use
a
to
box.
it. Yeah. It's in a box. It was stored in our unfinished basement for like 2 years or whatever. And then he got old enough to be able to not choke on the pieces. And it's like, yeah, here's some old cool toys. Like, check it out. Um, but yeah, they did that and they tried to give me so much stuff. And I'm like, I took what I wanted out of here a long time ago when I like moved, when I became an adult and had my own house. I came and got the stuff. The rest of it, they're like, oh, but there might be some money in these baseball cards. I'm like, then you go through it. Like, I'm not going, I don't have 4 hours to sit and just like see if there's anything useful here. Like, maybe you should have done that when we were getting the baseball cards and just yanking them out.
Yeah, they need a spreadsheet. I'd say that
Yeah,
what also and again just like I say, it all comes from the heart. But when,
of
indoors, for
course.
example, I mean, that's an example in case my wife hears and thinks I'm just kind of down on her mum. But they come over, they'll be like, "Oh, I've got this for enter wife or child's name or me for you. If you don't want it, just take it to the charity shop." I'm like, "What? No, because now it's my responsibility now." And there's a good chance that people are too polite in this house to say, "Actually, I don't really like that." So what they'll do is it will just get
Right.
put somewhere, and no one will take it to the charity shop. And so it's here, so it's added. Oh, just I found this. If you don't want it, just give it away. No, if you don't want it, I don't want it. That's the rule.
Right.
That maybe that's the thing.
Right.
You need
No,
a sign on the front door saying you can leave with things,
if
but
you don't
not
want it,
add.
I don't want
So if you don't want it, I don't want it.
it.
And that would also go well for like
Oh,
post, like post when you just get junk mail, things like that. If you don't want it,
yeah.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
Yeah, okay. There's something. I'm gonna build a
That's a different problem we just solved,
different
but I think we
problem.
solved another problem. I think we're solving multiple problems in this episode.
This is this is the one. This is the one to get me into whatever higher deities up there up in the office. Saving all the worlds. Right. Hang on. What was that phrase?
Well,
If you don't want
there's a common I don't want it. Yep. Um there's a common phrase in like you know campers, when people go camping, they say leave no trace, or make it better than the way you found it. And I think that should go for guests in your home. I'm not saying that they have to come in and like clean, but if you
pretty
bring
good.
one thing in, you have to take two things out. You have to leave it better than you found it. Like,
Yeah. But there'll be a strict kind of list of items that can go, and you just go help yourself to any
right,
number
you
of
can't just
them.
take whatever you want.
Can't just do that. The
Right.
kids would definitely be on that list, because there's either two items or one child. That's what you got to take. Like, I always say that about
Or and that would be good. Like that way, when people come over, like and say, "Oh, can I bring anything?" Yada yada yada. No, because if you have to leave with two things. Like if you bring nothing, you don't have to take anything. That's fine. But as soon as you bring one thing, you have to take two. If you bring two things, it's four. It doubles. So that way you can come over, but don't bring anything.
unless it's consumables, because everyone likes
That's
people
different,
who bring one.
right?
That's
That
that's
was gonna get you. You talked about gift giving, and there is like for consumables, that's fine. Like, but for stuff, don't
mm,
get me stuff. Just give me a gift card.
yeah. Gift
Like,
cards. Gift
give me
cards
cash.
are the right. It's quite funny. So me and my wife, and so my wife's birthday's January, my birthday's March. Close friends of ours, his birthday's March. No, yeah, his birthday's March, and his wife's birthday's January, and we're all close friends.
Mhm.
It kind of just turned into like a token thing. So my wife's birthday was first, and so they would, or my mate's wife would give Haley as a card. It would have £10 in it, and then it's her birthday, so Haley's friend's
Mhm.
birthday. So she will give a card with £10. But then it's our friend's male version, his birthday. So the £10 then goes to
Mhm.
him, and then the £10 comes to me at the end, and then I give it
Yep.
to Haley. And essentially, it's the most pointless, the most pointless gift,
Mhm.
because we're just we're just replacing, over 3 months we're replacing £10. So no, who owns it? I suppose the last one living is the one who's quids in, unless it was the first person who
Yep.
gave the original £10, which I don't know if we know when that started. Um,
That's a good point. And that's why I don't mind. Like someone told me a long time ago, uh, if you want to give someone a gift and they have a hobby like podcasting or Lego, don't buy them a Lego, right? Don't buy them a new microphone necessarily. Get them a gift card to the store that they really like and they're going to use it for that thing that they enjoy. Get me a Home Depot gift card. Get me an Amazon gift card. Get me a Lego gift card. I don't know if they make that. I would use that. I'd be like, heck yeah, let's go. All right. But if you give me cash, then it just changes hands. Yeah.
That's cash does cash. I mean, you just end up. I don't know. It just goes. Like I had still had money that was gifted for Christmas, and I'm extremely generous. And it sounds like I'm just moaning. I'm not, but I needed some cash just to get my hair cut. So I was just like, oh, I just use this. So my Christmas present from someone was getting my haircut. Okay, that's fine. It was a nice haircut. That's cool. But it sounds like it's been quite I know. I'm very thankful for everyone's generosity, but people need to think. People do need to think a bit more about things because we've got too much crap in the house.
We've got too much crap. We got too much stuff. We got too much clutter.
So what is okay? So right, I think I know the answer for you. You'll probably make you the most popular person in your hometown.
Okay, I'm listening. Be closer to the ocean. Got it.
Move this thing out. No, just open your own recycling center, and then your stuff's already there to be recycled. People can bring their recycling, and you can then the state or council, whoever it is that does it, will have to come and put it in a landfill somewhere for you. So they'd actually come, and so you'll have more initially, but then someone will go and bury it in the I don't know, ground in the middle of the desert for you. See, and you're held as a hero because people don't have to drive an hour round trip.
But so here's the here's the problem.
Oh, okay.
Right, and this is
this surprises me. That's a problem.
Well, because this was a point I was going to make a little earlier about recycling, because from what I'm doing air quotes for those listening. The research that I've done, it's really extensive, like internet Google searches,
social media posts,
that most things that you try to recycle don't get recycled, and they just end up in the landfill anyway. I think there's a lot of truth to that, other than maybe things that someone is going to take the effort to get the copper out of a television, or hey, this is actually hazardous material like paint. We need a special place for this, or else it's going to, actually pollute. But like your cardboard, your plastics, your, bigger items like porcelain, whatever, mattresses, all that's just going to end up in the landfill. And so, and it's because there's no money in recycling. The government doesn't want to do it because it would be a service that loses money, and they would have to pay people to actually sift through and sort your own garbage and your recycling, because no one wants to do it themselves. So they just bring it to a recycling center, and then that person has to do it. So that would actually, if I open my own recycling center, I would have to sort people's garbage, and I don't want to do that.
Bury it. Yeah.
And
bury it in your garden.
And the government's not going to do that either. Right.
I appreciate there is one flaw in that. Okay.
Yes.
Quite large.
My thought, and this is a wildly outrageous idea. What if we just had a day, maybe call it like the purge? I don't know. and and there's just a giant bonfire. Don't bring paint, right? Don't bring that stuff. But just like let's just burn it, or send it all in a rocket ship. Let's get Elon on the phone or something. And can we just shoot it off into space? Like everyone bring their stuff once a year, throw it in a rocket, just blast it off into space, or just burn whatever you can if it's wood and stuff. And then just it's never seen from again. And we don't ever have to worry about it. It's not like the space debris where it's orbiting around the planet. Just shoot it off to some, we'll call it like Jupiter, right? Just have it crash into Jupiter where it's just a giant ball of gas.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun.
And it just disintegrates, and like and the problem is just gone. I mean, we are slightly, I suppose, risking harming another planet before we've completely finished destroying this one. And it works. I mean, like who funds? Right, I'm gonna meet. Can I meet you halfway on
Yeah.
this? And actually, so I know obviously time off and holiday and sick pay and things like that are different in the States than they are here. We get 20
Right.
usually about 25 days holiday, a couple of weeks sick if paid for, and then it kind of goes steadily goes down. You can have things like a day. Well, with some companies, you can have a day off to go and do charity work. And like I said, that's not all
Mhm.
companies, but they are out there. Um, Grieving, maternity, paternity. Yeah, there's things. How's about if everyone could just have half a day, a, a year even,
Mhm.
just to take stuff to the tip? Like you've got you your biggest problem is having the actual physical time to make the all the various trips to get rid of it. If everyone just had on the
Mhm.
1st of June every year, you have the morning off work, or the first Monday of June, you have the morning off work to just take stuff to tips and recycling. Yeah, or maybe it's a whole day. Maybe it depends on how close you are to various centers, and you get that, and you can build it all. It's in a nice pile, throw it in the car. That's it, and then you get on with your life and just do the same next year.
I like where your head's at, because that also, having a day like I was saying, the purge, that's probably not reasonable. um but if we were to, do all of the recycling in one day, make it a national holiday, have the government, pay for, or even, have some private companies too in the mix, where people are getting paid on one day to come and take your stuff. Because if everyone's recycling on the same day,
You want some
that's a
structure.
lot of stuff to sort through. You're gonna need, like, you don't want to be sitting in traffic for 4 hours just with a bunch of garbage in your truck or whatever. So it would need to be a full scale operation to have this set up, or you have small pockets. You have each county or whatever, each city has 4 or 5 places you can go to drop your stuff off. They collect it and they sort it there, and then they take it off to where that becomes the distribution point, essentially, for where stuff needs to go. But they're temporary, they're pop-ups that happen once a year.
And it could be a case that it's done right. This area on the 5th of January, that's your day. 6th of January is
Hmm.
this day. So actually, it's
That
broken
would
up.
work too.
So 365 days, or not because of Christmas, but hey, yeah, it goes in. And that, and I do have another one. Just throw in the mix before any decisions are made. And going back to the purge, right? You're not allowed to use violence. You're not allowed to technically break the
Okay.
law, but for 24 hours, you can distribute your clutter into anyone else's house as long as you don't get caught.
Ooh, I like that one. That Now we're getting somewhere. Like,
just just sneak
people
in.
will fortress up their houses to prevent other clutter from getting in.
Exactly. No violence. You're not allowed to take
I
anything out the house. You are.
No.
It's purely if you can get in and leave an old TV with a VHS and Scooby Doo VHS cassettes. If you can achieve
This is
that,
your problem now. I'm out.
that's and they have to wait till next year, or make they
That's
can make the trip, but they have to wait till next year to get rid of it.
I like that. That seems, because we went from one day a year to 365, and now it's an ongoing business, or
Yeah,
we're back to a service again, right? Um, and it's like, if you miss your day, you're screwed, right?
yeah.
But if everyone knows about it, it's a holiday. If it's one centralized day, everyone knows about it, and they can, or maybe it's 48 hours, whatever, um, or week even, probably makes the most sense. Like, let's just do recycle week. Um, but it's still it's going to cost a lot of money for people to receive your junk, separate it, and distribute it to where it needs to go. And so I like the, hey, let's have a day where it's redistribute clutter day, where if I can successfully sneak into your house, I'm allowed to just drop stuff in your house and leave.
People just taking cords in their pocket. Oh, hi, Nan. I'm just coming over. You haven't got anything, have you? No, I haven't got anything. You're just leaving cords, old
Ha,
keys.
gotcha.
Yeah. Just all of a sudden, there's an old washing machine inside someone's hallway, and
I like
you're
that
out of there.
because we're saying no violence. There's no real uh there's no theft, there's no breaking of the law, right?
Yeah.
So no one
I,
the worst thing that someone's going to do is just have more stuff in their house, which sucks, but it's like that's fine.
that's it. And it's like, yeah, because on this day you're allowed to enter people's houses. So yeah, there's no laws being broken. Because if you can get in, as long as you're not smashing the place up, we still want to be doing.
Right.
I respect it. It's a bit of fun where you're decluttering. And if someone else hasn't, got the triple shutters on and completely kind of anti-nuked their property, then that's on them. They're gonna get a washing machine, a
Mhm.
TV, and some cords. Um, and also, I think it would make
If I
people
can,
better.
I'll go buy a lockpick. It'll be fine.
I think it'll make people better neighbors as well. Because if you're the one asshole in the street,
Ooh.
everyone's going to be trying to just get rid of all the stuff on you, right? So it could almost like,
Yeah.
hang on, because then what happens is streets, cities, states start policing themselves because no one wants to end up with everyone's clutter. Because if you're the person who's getting cluttered, so everyone policing themselves, crime goes down, happiness goes up for the majority of people, um, and the entire world's happier, and that's
I
achievable.
and I think crime would go down, and I think just the amount of clutter in your house would go down, like the initial amount,
Mm,
right? Because if you have this ultra super defense to keep clutter out, you're going to be a little bit more mindful of what you bring in, and you don't want to have to break into someone's house to get rid of it. But if that's like the only way to get rid of your clutter, you're now like, okay, I've got a day to do this. I gotta find a target. I gotta scope them out. I gotta like make keys, or I gotta like track this person. You're gonna do a bit of stalking, but all good fun. It's reasonable stalking. I don't know.
I was just
Um,
taking everything back to my indoors. Just like, "Oh, there you go, you're
yeah,
back."
yeah. Um, I like
Oh,
it. It's got some flaws, but it doesn't cost anyone any money other than shut security shutters and more deadbolts. But that's probably good for your house anyway.
right. Oh, no, it's a work in progress, but certainly the idea there. I mean, the ideal solution would be if everyone stopped making single-use items and made,
Right.
goods sustainable again, and that we didn't just throw everything away and consume and buy and get more stuff, and there's just more rubbish out there, ready to just primed to clutter our houses. Um, but hey, until then, we have the clutter purge once a year.
Yeah.
Imagine
And
being
the
the
only other thing just came to my head.
yeah.
The clutter purge. What?
No, no, carry on.
Oh, I was gonna say they're already scientists out there working on bioengineering microbes to eat plastic.
Mm.
Like that's a thing that they're do it for all materials. Just have some super bug that can like contain it, that can eat basically whatever you throw into it over X amount of time. And maybe it's got an aversion to concrete so that it doesn't eat the concrete that it's in. But then you just have these microbes that just eat everything.
Yeah. I mean, would they? Is there a risk they'd get really big and then take over the world? I don't know.
No, because I think
I
they're more like germs, but they
okay.
could.
I
Here's how we pay for it. You ready? This full cycle. just like people who do composting, if you could find worms and bugs that could eat our trash, actual physical trash, they would have to have some sort of a byproduct,
Mhm.
and that byproduct would then be sold to other people for whatever use it is. Maybe it's a methane gas that you can capture and then use as a fuel source, or maybe it's a bioproduct like a soil or something that could be sold to farms. If you could make that microbe or worm or insect exist that could just eat basically everything except for the container it's in, because then it could get out and then would just eat the world. Um,
And its
you do have
excrement,
that problem.
its excrement would be used to fill in potholes.
Oh,
So
please,
that
please, that would be great.
that would be great. Um, I think between all those ideas, there's a workable solution. Now, I always say I'm the ideas guy. I'm not someone to put this into plan. Yeah, I can't put it into
Hmm.
motion. I don't have nowhere to
Yeah,
get the
we know.
funding. I'm not the science guy, but we've started something. At some point, Elon Musk, I don't know, some big science person will be like, "Hey, these guys are onto something. Let's do it. Planet save," and we'll be the unsung heroes. But at least we're living in a better
We just got to
place.
get and that's why if you're listening to this podcast, you have to like and subscribe, right? You
Of
have
course,
to, so that the podcast gets bigger, so that it gets in front of the important people that make decisions, or the smart people that know how to get these things into action. So it's actually on the listeners. We're the idea guys. We came up with the solutions, or the practical solutions. It's on the listeners to do their part to get it crowdfunded and crowdsourced out to the people who actually have to get stuff done. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, you're actually killing the planet.
wow, that's a very very accurate and powerful
Accurate.
statement. It's true, and I
It's their responsibility, and at this point it's out of our we've put the clutter onto the listeners, and now it's their job to uh to get it done.
perfect. Now, I mean, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this opportunity, kind of promote something that I'm working on. I didn't actually give you the name earlier, so this is the bit where on YouTube's going to be specifically used for me testing out to see if I can make any of the ideas used on Geoff Jones and Friends Make It Better, kind of a reality to see if it will work. Now, obviously, there's certain things I can't do. Like I can't send trash into Jupiter. I can definitely make a sign to go on the front of my house saying, "If you don't want it, I don't want it." Um, and these videos are going to be 5 minute long, and just kind of it's going to be called Jeff Flicks as well, which I'm extremely. Although
I like that a lot.
I'm a bit worried because the spelling of the name's GEO. I'm worried people are going to be like, "What's Geo? Geoflix? Geoflix?" But hey,
Yeah.
but I'm. I think there's something in it. There's something that can be put to the test. Maybe I don't know, create a worm. I'll get some worms. I'll start feeding them trash. Wherever they poop out, I'll start filling up a pothole. See if that works. I don't know, but I'm going to go for it. And then I'm going to crowdsource a crap load of money. Skyrocket.
I think what you could do, if we're yeah, there you go. Just start your own you know what, just sell your, you know, what is it? The internet startup that you were gifted by your dad, and use that money to start your own rocket company.
Simple.
Anyway,
Yeah.
if we're actually thinking, I don't know if this will work. I don't know science or biology that well, but you could get worms eat products like they eat byproducts of other things. If you could shred plastic small enough to where it's like whatever they call microplastics, if you could find a way to get that down to that size and put it into the dirt that they're eating, they ingest enough of it over a couple of generations, maybe they have an appetite for plastics. I don't know. I assume that's kind of what they're doing right now when they're bioengineering the bugs. So
Because my brain's like, that you're onto something. Like, it's enough in the ground. They will learn. And okay, it's not us. It's not maybe it's not our children, but that third
right.
generation.
Well, I
Oh,
mean, in
worms
generations
that
of
eat
worms
plastics.
too, right? Yeah,
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. Oh, of course, yeah. They, I suppose, live less time. So actually, we just be
yeah,
talking 3 or 4 human years.
right.
I mean, that's my brain says that works. Training or
Right.
engineering worms to eat microplastics, which are in everything. I mean, fish, surely fish, right? There's plastic in all the fish now.
Right.
Surely they are trained enough to be able to eat it. So what we want is more plastic in the ocean, so the fish eat more. No, no, scratch, scratch that. We don't. That's not. That's. I think that's the proof that that's not quite worked just yet. But maybe we need worms and not fish. Travis, I can. I
If wait, if the
uh,
worms eat enough plastic, there'll be enough plastic in the worms where you use the worms to fish and get the fish, and then the fish end up eating the plastic anyway.
I would say instead of using the fish as bait to lure the worm as a lure to get the fish, the worm is actually just eating plastic from the ocean. Wait,
Yeah, that could work too.
I'm
We
so
could
confused.
we'll start a whole biological ecosystem of plastic eating animals.
Oh dear.
That's what needs to happen.
Well, yeah, I did. I mean, yes. Also,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, edible plastics for humans. Just say, get a
Yeah.
bit hungry, eat your computer. Just nibble a little bit here and there. I don't know. Travis,
Geoff.
we've done something. I mean, at moments, I'm pretty sure we've actually just created some kind of utopian future,
Mm-hmm.
all from a couple of ideas on a silly little podcast. I can't thank you enough. Give us a quick rundown of the Bar Banter links, like where you can be found, YouTube and the podcast and social medias. Give us your deets.
Yeah, so the Bar Banter Podcast, you can find it basically wherever you find your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Good Pods, all those good places where the podcast actually exists. And then we do have our social medias on, I'm going to call it X now. That still makes me cringe, but we're on X, we're on Twitter. That's the same thing. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We have a TikTok and we have a YouTube. I'm working on getting the longer format onto YouTube so you guys can see us as well as hear us. And then we're at the underscore bar banter for most of those social handles. Find us, check it out. And if you want to interact with us, please do. We're always looking for new topics and new guests. Because some of our guests we have on kind of suck, like this guy over here. I don't know where he is on the screen. I'm backwards. New episodes out every Wednesday. And yeah, they're a good time.
Thank you very much, Travis. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. The crowdfunding for buying me and Travis a rocket will be beginning straight after this episode. But that all there is for me to say is it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. And it's goodbye from your host, Geoff Jones. That is me. And it is also goodbye from my guest, Travis Jennings from the Bar Banter Podcast. Say goodbye, Travis.
Bye, Travis.
Goodbye, Travis. Thanks all.